And welcome everyone to another adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host Michael, and thank you to everyone joining us tonight on a special night. We were going to have this on the last day of September, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we had to reschedule it. So I am so grateful that she was available tonight, and I am so blessed to have her back on my show from June. We looked it up, and so much has happened since then. So I am so excited to turn it over to my guest to share with us what's going on now. So I am going to turn it over to the one, the only amazing, awesome friend of mine, Jami Lee Mayfield.
Hi, Michael. Always so nice to do these with you. I was going to say my one and only, because you're the only one I really like to connect with on here, for sure.
I will take that compliment.
So where do we want to begin? Should we do the Beyond Skinwalker first?
I say let's just rip the Band-Aid off and go for it.
So Beyond Skinwalker Ranch came here for the weekend, October of 2023, and they brought all this great equipment, all the stuff. Funny enough, I had never even seen one of their shows before saying yes to this. So went into it totally blind, but my friend Dustin, who's the author of Mount Shasta Mysteries, said, Jami, do it. You know, I've worked with them before. Do it. I said, all right, well, we'll try it. I have stage fright. Don't like cameras. Don't like to do this kind of stuff normally. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this.
You have stage fright?
So bad.
Did it come through?
So they came, got to meet everybody, and the film crew was awesome. Seriously awesome. And having so many cameras in my face was definitely interesting. And they made it super easy to be around them and to be on film. So I really am thankful for them for that. But so they want to use the land to see what they get on all their fancy equipment. And I was kind of hesitant on how much, I don't know, how I was going to actually be on camera and how much information I wanted to share, because I really just didn't know. This is the History Channel. So I didn't really know. If it was the Gaia channel, I would have been able to be as woo-woo as I wanted, right?
Right.
But with this, it was different because I just didn't know. So I kind of just felt him out. And they were super excited to see all of the footage that I have and all the videos, the orbs, and hear about the experiences that I've had being here. And they've only showed, 15 minutes of that. But it was awesome. It was awesome to be able to share it. One of the nights that we went out into the meadow, we had all this, they brought in these lasers. Seriously, it looked like Burning Man. I've never been to Burning Man, not about that, but that's what it looked like, because that's the light show that it projected. And they were trying to find, I guess, energies on the land with their equipment. And honestly, Dustin, my friend Dustin, he's got the LiDAR equipment, and his LiDAR worked so good. No problems whatsoever. So I definitely feel like the energy was off when it comes to this. And that night specifically, we're there. And one of the assistant producers comes up to me and says, Jami, do you want to do, your invocation or show people how you connect to the beings on the land on film? And I said, no, I'll be right here. I'll be right here behind the cameras, and I'll just do it here. And she said, okay, no problem. She was really nice. So while I was doing that, I was tuning into the beings on the land, and they all came to me, and they had these staffs. I had asked them beforehand if it was okay, if it was all right with them if they came, because I'm super conscientious of who comes onto the land and does this kind of stuff, because I want to make sure it's the right vibration. It felt fine, but when I was there in that moment, all the beings took these massive staffs, and I've never seen them do this before, and they started beating the ground. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to share anything right now because I just kind of don't want to. I don't really know these guys. I'm just going to be quiet about it. And what was shown in the episode was all the TV screens, right? All those monitors started going off the charts. All these wavy lines, and they're like, what in the world? And I knew, because you never know with these kind of TV shows. You just don't know what's right, what's real, and what's not,
Right.
So when that came up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the beings on the land showing me the staffs beating on the ground. And Andy was like, what is going on? And I was like, oh, wow. All right. That was going on. They were beating the ground, and you could see it on the screens, and that was cool. But the equipment they brought did not work. Did not work at all. All those laser lights did not work. The guy said that he's never had that happen. I don't know if he was being honest about it, but I know that it didn't happen. It really didn't happen. Like, he tried so hard to get it to work, and it just wasn't working. So we were able to capture a little bit of it, but not much.
I wonder if perchance, they were kind of feeling a little bit of your apprehension. And so as they were beating the ground, it set up a field that the lasers could not penetrate. Because I remember they went a certain distance, but then stopped.
Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, and I was out there, I'm not kidding you. Like, it was a really long weekend. They wanted me out there with them pretty much the whole time. They asked me to go down there with the Tesla coil. And I said, no, I'm too tired because I was up so late the night before. I'm like, no, if you need me, I'll go down there. But if you don't, I'm good. So I didn't. But it was interesting to see how they saw everything, how they perceived it all. And what was good about it, at least from my standpoint, being on, the other end, was that they were like, oh yeah, we know the orbs are real. We know that these fears are real energy. They aren't bugs, they are energy. We've come to the conclusion, I guess, Travis or whatever. Can you hear me, Michael?
I can.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure we didn't get disconnected because it's been pretty crazy with this internet. It was odd because I had so many other things that I was sharing, and they only could put so much in. And so they got the ET picture, the little gray alien. They got that one, and then the orb.
Uh-oh. Seems like we got, you said we got the orb and then you froze.
I really can't believe that the weather is beautiful here. Beautiful. So I don't know why we're having so many problems with internet, but all day today it's been awful. So bear with us here.
What can we say? We're at the base of Mount Shasta.
Yeah. And we're talking about all this high energy too. So yeah, so it was fun. I mean, it was fun. It was interesting for me to, be a part of it all, even though it took like 2 years to actually air. It just shows you how far behind it takes so long to just air these things. But it was interesting.
Yeah, it's true. And they just did the wrap up of season 3 episode, because I'm actually a little bit behind watching. They probably aired back in July, and I just got to watching them now. But they were talking about like all the stuff that was happening at Shasta and some of the other spots, and they were like, yeah, we definitely need to go back and probably poke some more. And I don't know if that means they may be reaching out to you to go back and do more, or if they're going to not return to Mount Shasta and maybe go other places. But I don't know. It kind of sounded like they were wanting to go back to Mount Shasta, but it's so big that they may go back to the what was it, sheriff?
Oh, yeah. He's a good sheriff, too. He's really nice.
Yeah. So with it being there, and do you think that some of the interference that may have happened there could have been the spirits protecting the land and saying, wait a minute, we don't know what you're doing, so we're not going to allow this to fully go because we're not sure what effect this is going to have?
This is the thing. So, from my experience, just going out there, right? So, I'll go outside at night and I will bring my camera and all of my gadgets, right? And my drone. And I'll go out to that meadow, walk around. My battery will get completely drained. When the plasma comes in or any high energy beings come in, it'll get completely drained. So I have so many batteries in my little adventure pack that I'll just put one out, replace, and it's normal. It's normal. So I think it's just the energy. I mean,
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I understand that concept because it does, I understand that it would probably, they don't want to interact with certain people. But I have to say, in this case, it was likely that it just got drained because of the energy that's here. Because it happens with me,
Right. And it could be, I don't know how much you give into the lore of what Mount Shasta is and what goes on there, but it could also be, like you're saying, the energy of what's inside Mount Shasta is drawing in so much that's why your internet gets
Yeah.
iffy at times, why your batteries are drained, their equipment didn't work. And so, I mean, we there are a lot of reasons why stuff can happen, but when it's like, on power cords versus physical battery versus, all of this, it kind of starts to paint a much different picture than, oh, the battery just we thought was charged or new wasn't. You can explain that away. Okay. But if it's plugged in and doesn't work,
Yeah.
that's something else.
No, it's true. Absolutely. It is. They use
So,
us as conductors. And yes, it's I definitely feel like most people know that Mount Shasta has this energy that is so ginormous. And but the way they named Mount Shasta energy is like sucking. What do they call it? Bad Shasta energy. What do they call that episode? I don't even know. I've only watched it one time.
uh, I,
Bad
I
energy.
can look and see real
It was
quick.
bad energy. I think that's what they called it. And I was like, oh my gosh, are they really going to say that? Wow.
Well, and the thing about it too, though, is that episode they didn't focus strictly on like your area. They
Yeah.
went to other spots, and so yeah, they did call it bad energy. And I think that's why I'm glad we're able to talk about it, because I don't want, the misnomer of people that were thinking about coming to healing place going, "Oh wait, according to these people it's bad energy." No,
Yeah.
there was other locations and things going on. And so don't view the whole episode by the title. You got to watch and learn, be discerning, because I don't remember them ever saying while they were on your property, "This is bad energy."
No. No. It's wonderful healing energy here. And honestly, the reason I don't think I've ever really shared this, but I when I came to this place to view it when it was on the listing before we bought it, this energy here is really healing. It is it is so felt. It's so deeply felt. And I felt it right when I came up the driveway. I felt it even before that. I felt it on the road. And so yeah, there's nothing negative about this place. And I would say nothing negative about Mount Shasta, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been there. I go all the time. And it's like, I can understand that sometimes people go there. Have you been to Panther Meadows? Have you been here yet?
I have not. It's on my list, and I'm hoping to get there next year or the following year, but it is on my like top of my list.
Good. So Corey and I went up to Panther Meadows one year. I think it was I don't remember what year it was. It was a couple years ago. And it felt awful. It felt like all the life force was sucked out of it. And we actually went up there and did a healing. We wanted to actually share energy with Panther Meadows, with the mountain, because so many people go there and they're under the influence. They're doing all these psychedelics and they're wanting to be healed. So they're taking the energy. So we wanted to give the energy. But honestly, from how I feel now, it's all just a yin and yang, right? It's all just constantly circulating this energy. So Mount Shasta, it shines energy, high energy, to those who are asking for it, those who are connected to it. And that's what I do. So when I'm here and I do my invocations, I actually ask the energies to come in and work with them while we're here. And it's never been dark. It's always been beautiful. It's always been higher vibrational. It's never been anything dark ever, ever.
Yeah. I feel like the mountain responds to what intention is within the people who come. And it's interesting how you talk about how Panther Meadow felt drained, because I was going to go to Sedona at one point, and everybody was starting to post up on social media, oh my god, the energy in Sedona is draining. They're draining Sedona. And part of my brain was like, wait a minute, this is a natural energy source. There's no way we could drain it. But then another part of me was like, well, you get enough people in there and the energy will probably teeter and not be its normal. And so that may be what's going on. And so it's like, maybe step back, let it circulate itself and recuperate, rebalance, and try again later.
So I just went to Sedona for a Vedic astrology conference. Joni Patri is my teacher. I am studying to be a Vedic astrologer. And so going out there, we got this magnificent house right near Cathedral Rock. And it was awesome. And I hadn't been there since 2017, I think. Corey and I went for 2 weeks. The feeling was completely different. It's very commercialized. It's just, it feels different there, but I was able to go off by myself, go to some certain points that I was familiar with and connect. And it did feel different. So when you said that, I wanted to share my experience because it did feel different to me. It feels like there, but honestly, if you really think about this, so many people are wanting to find the light within themselves. They're trying to find inner peace. They're trying to find their God. They're trying to find themselves. So going to places like that and places like here, I don't want to say, stop doing what you're doing. I want them to continue doing it because they're getting something. So I guess how I'm feeling right now, thinking about that, is changing the perspective, going to Sedona. I got what I needed. Did it feel different? Yes, it did. But I didn't go to a lot of shops. I didn't go and do the shops. I didn't go and speak to so many, people that live there. I didn't do any of that. I stayed within my little, group and then went out by myself. And when I was out by myself, it felt great. It was fine. I didn't feel like it was, it wasn't available for people, but I definitely felt like the shops and going in and walking inside the shops. There was a few shops that I did go into. I was there for 8 days, 7 days, 8 days. So I did have to go into some shops and it did feel different, but I felt like it shouldn't stop people from going there, they need to go there. If they feel called to go there, go there. But I think we're at the time to where we're like, we're really trying to find the light within ourselves. We're trying to remember who we are. We're trying to find out how we can grow into our spirituality, right? And that's something that I'm getting through clients, through even friends that aren't even spiritual. I mean, people that aren't even spiritual are coming to me and they're just like explaining things to me, like their thoughts are changing. And have you noticed that with your guests and like just you as a person? You've noticed like everything shifting and changing within our minds. We're changing very fast.
It is. And I've even noticed Like, for example, just publishing a book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally should have put this in that book. I totally should have put that in this book. And it's like, wait. And I was like, why am I now thinking about what should have been in? It's like, shouldn't I have had that thought before, the process started? Why? What was the delay in triggering that thought to go, oh, yeah, that would have been great to put in there. Oops.
Well, it just means you're going to write another one.
Oh, believe me, I already have planned out what a second edition is going to look like. And the nice thing about it is I'm not going to start the whole book over from scratch. I'm just going to take the book that's there and just add to it.
Yeah.
And say, here's the second edition. Because sometimes it's like you just want to add a little bit and add some cool effects to it, like illustrations maybe that now you have time to look at doing, versus, oh yeah, I have like 13, 14 stories that I could talk about. And I'm like, well, that is a book.
Yeah.
But if I only have one story, it's like, yeah, I don't want to sit there and be like, okay, let's stretch this story out and make it this really long thing just so I can say second edition.
Honestly, it feels like right now we are okay. The best way I can explain the way that I view things and see life now, my reality is life is but a dream.
Yeah.
Life is but a dream. So, like tonight, for instance, before I got on with you, I was like, oh my gosh, you texted me and you were like, Jamie, I'll see you in half an hour. And I was like, what do you mean? Wait a minute. I was supposed to be on here at 6:30. I'm not ready yet. I just had a client and now I have to get ready. I have to actually brush my hair, do my hair, put it in a braid, whatever. It's as though I feel like life really is but a dream and we shouldn't take all of this stuff so serious. We should really start to be so authentic to where we shouldn't apologize for anything, right?
Right.
And we need to just be who we are without even worrying about everything, without having to make everything perfect. That to me means so much. It does.
And, to elaborate a little further on that, in my opinion, is, we always talk about going with the flow, and then there's divine timing. And, we view these as separate entities and separate aspects. And to me, it's like tonight, it showed up as one collective energy because I had sent you the link this morning. You were like, great, I'll see you. We got it all set. And we had talked about it being at 8 o'clock Central Time. So it was like everything was in line. And then I message you, and, and I normally don't message guests to say, hey, how's it going? And something just led me to say, hey, just checking in, kind of text. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm excited for tonight, and I know it's at 6:30 my time. And I was like, wait a minute, that's an hour later, hour or something. And I was like, wait, you mean half hour, right? And it worked out to where you got everything done you need to get done.
Yeah.
We were able to start the show. We even had tech issues before we started.
Yep.
And we overcame them all. And how did it work? Because we were just
Chilling.
in the divine flow.
That's how I kind of have to live now. I have to just chill. I have to really learn. Now, I am Western astrology, I'm a double Virgo. Vedic astrology, I'm a double Leo. But honestly, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I always try to be as perfect as I can in life. That's how I've always been. And it's ridiculous because we aren't perfect. There's nothing perfect about humanity. Like, we just really need to just be one with each other. Just like share what's on my heart. And that's what's so wonderful about talking to you, because I feel like I'm talking to a dear friend that I've known for so long. And that's it. I don't even think about anybody else that's watching it, to be honest with you. I'm thinking about you and I talking right now, and how wonderful that is.
And it is perfect. And, there's a way of, it's like I have two ways that I look at perfection, because I'm kind of like you, as I like to be, flawless as much as possible. And I realize that's not perfection. One of the aspects that I use when I talk about, perfection is when I can see something that I know has so many errors in it, so many like things that are off about it, but still see it as beautiful. I'm like, that's perfection.
Yeah.
To see the flaws and accept the flaws as they are and be able to see beyond. That's a perfection to me. And the other way I view it is like when it comes to humanity is we are perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what we need to be.
Yeah. It makes life so less stressful.
It actually does.
It does, and it makes us actually connect in a whole different way. Like, we're connecting, well, that's how I feel right now. We're connecting in such a different way to where it's like we're just connecting. There's no stress. There's no need to be anything other than who we are. And it's been really nice because I've been such a recluse after my daughter, leaving the earth. I've been very much at home, not wanting to really go out and talk to so many people. But now, just this past summer, I've been meeting so many wonderful people that are so genuine. They talk about what's on their mind. I don't like filters. I like to just be able to converse with somebody without having to be concerned about what I can talk about and what I can't. I love that open connection. And so, especially this weekend, I went to a housewarming party, and it was so nice to be able to connect with everybody and like share what's really on our hearts, on our minds. No worries, no concerns about, oh, that person's going to think I'm funny or weird or woo-woo. No, it was so nice. So I look forward to more connections to come when it comes to that.
Oh, they're coming.
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming for sure. They're coming.
I was just thinking of a funny joke is, you talk about them coming, and something we were talking about earlier that's been keeping you awake and going, maybe you want to clarify what you want to keep coming, because you keep getting a visitor that's keeping you awake and he's bringing energy, and so you're getting what you're asking for, just maybe not exactly the way you envisioned it.
True. Yes. 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 And that's a crazy thing. It's like, no matter what, no matter what comes into our lives, we don't sleep enough. We have certain encounters with somebody that sets us off, triggers us, whatever. I love those little bell aha moments of, wow, I'm just going to roll with it even more. I'm just going to be in the flow with it even more. I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm just going to go with it. And when you really understand that we are kind of in a simulation. I mean, and we're playing the role of Michael and Jami, and life is but a dream. It really does make things so much easier to comprehend, to understand, to really just let it sink in. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be anything other than what we are. And that's what's so important. And that's what I love about consciousness. So working with clients, working with anybody, and just exploring that consciousness, that has been like my guiding light, my driving force. When I have somebody that opens up into their superconscious mind, Michael, we're doing this. You and I, we're doing this. I'm doing a session with you because I can't wait to get in there with you. It's awesome because you're so in the flow, and it just takes you to where you need to be. It takes you to the center, and that's where that's the driving force. And once we like understand that the driving force is inside of us, like in the center, nothing else matters. It's just about us being there and being able, and I love relating to people. Being able to relate to each and every person is huge for me. So the superconscious mind is the most important thing to me right now, sitting here, present moment, right now.
And to piggyback on that a little bit, in my perspective is I used to always judge myself by saying, if I was to ever put myself on screen in a movie, so to speak, who would I cast to play me? And I'd always be like, oh, I should get this actor or this actor or this actor, because they're a big name. And now, today, if you were to ask me, like, if we were going to be filming this episode and say, okay, who's going to play the role of Jami? Who's going to play the role of Michael? I would look and I'd be like, Michael has to play the role of Michael. Jami has to play the role of Jami. And it's not arrogance or it's not, being superficial. It's we're the only ones that know what experiences we've been through, what experiences, felt like, what they did to us, the impacts. And so nobody could portray that. It's like I could talk to actors all day and be like, oh, well, this, hit me like this and this made me do this. But when you look at it, it's not going to be authentic because they don't have that energy connection to it where we do. And it's like, it'll never look right to us.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going along the line of like what you were saying about us playing roles is we are playing the role because we're the only ones that can.
We are. And so throwing out all the other stuff that doesn't serve us, all those thoughts that, oh my gosh, you're not looking good enough. You're not articulate enough. Like me, I'm probably running on 4 hours of sleep. And, for me, I have to get out of my own head and say, okay, I'm sleep deprived, but I'm still here. I'm still able to talk to you. I'm okay. Life is but a dream. Everything's fine. I don't need to stress about how I'm perceived, what's going to happen, because I know that I'm speaking from my heart. And when I speak from my heart, that's what matters.
And there's nothing to measure up to. It's like you don't have to sit there and go, oh, I need to make this story, this experience more because this is what the people want. You're like, this is the experience. It is what it is. I'm sorry if, you feel it needs to be more. To me, it's perfect as it is. It's like, I don't want more and I don't want less. It is like the perfect balance.
Yeah. It's interesting. And so some of the things that I've been doing a lot. Okay. So you said we haven't spoke since June. So I've been diving a lot into Atlas. So a lot of the things that I don't speak about, in front of the world, I have a small group and I share some stuff with, but Atlas, have you tuned into this 3-eye Atlas at all?
I have not like physically interacted with it, but I have been sitting back and watching what's going on and having like every once in a while I get visions of, okay, yeah, this is okay, but we need to be wary of this. And it's kind of like a teeter back and forth of, okay, this is okay, or oh, this might be starting us on the path that we don't want to be on. And what I kind of come down to is realizing the reason I might be shifting on the view of it is who's behind it at that moment. If somebody has a bad intention, they're programming that into the Atlas. So the Atlas is going to take it on. It doesn't know what's going on, it just knows what it's being programmed to do. And if the person has beneficial intention behind it at that moment, that's where I'm feeling like, yeah, we're okay. This is okay. I don't, no problem.
Interesting. Super interesting that you are sharing this with me. And it's like a crystal, right? What
Right.
you shared to me, it seems like you're feeling like this is one gigantic crystal, right? That's what it felt like to me when you just said that.
Right. Yeah.
So when I went in and I viewed it, because I really wanted to see what I felt about it. And normally I don't really talk about these kind of things other than my close group, but I want to share this because it was really awesome. So what I was shown was my aspect Sato was there to the left of this gigantic object. And the energy that was coming off of it was so peaceful. But I started seeing all of these truths rising. Like it was going to be truths rising. It was going to be peace rising. But what means peace? In order to have peace, what do we need to do? We need to uprise. We need to rise up. We need to make sure that we are speaking our truth, rising up for our beliefs. So, hence the riots. But what was really interesting that I haven't shared with anybody yet was this. I asked, is this a ship? I love crystals. So for me, crystals are very important. They hold information. They share information. This was different than any crystal. I saw this being come up and it was really odd because it had like some kind of space helmet, but inside it, I felt like it was a Lyran being. Now, mind you, I'm not familiar with Lyrans as much as others. So it was very different for me to experience it, but I go off the feeling. I go off what I'm seeing, and I always make sure to honor everything I'm getting because I know it's meant. So I feel like this energy, and another thing that I was getting was a windshield. So I was getting like this window, and that to me made me feel like it was a ship. But then I was like, no, this is energetic. And being a student of astrology, I understand how so many of these, whether they be comets, whether they be asteroids, whatever it is up there, planets, they impact us energetically. They impact us. This is bringing a lot of truth and peace and love to the earth. I can't say that I felt anything negative. I felt like it was here for the highest good of all concerned. Straight up. That's how I felt. And it was strong. The feeling was so strong.
No, and that sounds right. And I would agree with a lot of that. And it's interesting you pick up on the Lyran inside of it, because Lyrans, when they were first around before the wars happened, they were like the peace. It's like, you asked, what is peace? It's like Lyrans didn't have a concept of war, of pain, of suffering. They just knew calm, peaceful serenity, harmony. And so it's like the perfect person to put inside the crystal to explain it. But then, like I was saying, it depends on who's programming it. Because if I was to say, to a soldier, what's your concept of peace? They could say, well, the war is over. Everybody who was wanting to fight is gone, and so we're at peace. That is a very true statement.
Yeah.
However, you could go to a monk and say, what is peace? Being one with nature, being one with everything, total tranquility and everything. That also is peace.
Yeah.
So there is no right and wrong answer. It's depending on who's giving it the answer.
You're right. And that goes into that's I wish that we could articulate everything that goes on in our minds so perfectly. I'm trying to understand and decipher how to articulate things in a way that the information's coming in. I can understand things from a human word perspective, right? But what you just said was, I understand, I completely get. When I saw the Lyran being, and the only reason why, like I told you, I don't know about Lyrans, I really don't. When I saw the being lift up, but it had like this helmet around it, but I intuitively knew it was a Lyran being. It made me feel like this powerful, so much power in that. There was so much power in what I felt. I just wish that we could articulate things in the way that we perceive it in our minds even more. And I feel like that's going to be the new way of us actually speaking. Telepathy, yes, we'll get there. But there's something else that's trying to surface. Have you experienced that before? Like
I
that?
have. And it's like you're looking at like a video, a movie, so to speak, but you can't, really say what you're seeing, because it's like your mind is going, I'm seeing this. I don't even know how to put this into words, but I know I'm seeing it. And so therefore it's got to be, but I have no words to start even attempting to describe the feeling. And one of the ways I could say that for me it came through was a moment when I stopped blaming myself for stuff that happened to cause issues in our family, because I took it on because I was like, I had a mission. So I was like, okay, if my mission failed, it's my fault. Why? What did I do? And so I spent years trying to figure out what I did wrong and how the mission failed. And then one day I just woke up and was like, the mission didn't fail. It looks like it failed, but it didn't fail. It's unfolding as it is, but it's like, how do I word that? And it's just something you feel inside. It's like all of a suddenly, it's like all the emotions around it just disappear.
I
And
think,
it's like
yeah,
people can ask you about it and you don't get emotionally raised anymore. You're just calm about it. It's almost like it went from experience to story to an event that no longer has effect on you in a matter of seconds.
we're detaching.
Yeah.
It's like we're able to detach from that trauma, that experience, and we're able to perceive it from an energetic perspective. And that's something that's very new. It's very new.
It's
Um,
almost like the proverbial, they say, the wool's been pulled over your eyes.
yeah,
It's like we've gone through the reversal. The wool that was pulled over our eyes has been lifted back off,
yeah.
and we're seeing what's actually going on. And it's hard to articulate that because a friend of mine put it in terms of, she and I were talking, and she's like, Michael, your brain works in multi dimensions. And that is going to be hard for you to explain to people. And I was like, very true, because I see events unfolding here, but I also see them unfolding on astral. I also see them unfolding in different dimensions. And so each one has a different view of the same event, emotions attached to the same event. And so it's like, yeah, seeing all of these unfold at the same time, it's like, yeah, what you're seeing is true, but it's like they describe like you're in chess, you're like several moves ahead.
Yeah.
It's like you can see the unfolding at times further ahead of where everybody else is, and you're just waiting for everyone to catch up to be like, yeah, now I can talk about it because now y'all are where I'm at or where I was, and you're still behind, but it's okay.
I just think it's awesome that our consciousness is expanding. We are bending our minds like pretzels, like Dolores Cannon. So going in those uncharted territories, that's huge. Just being able to tap into that, that's tapping into the ethers, tapping into the parts of ourselves that we need to reach. We need to go there. And I think it's awesome. So being able to have these conversations, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
And
and one of the things I contributed to is like I'll say to people, we're these sophisticated bodies moving around. You can call them a shell, you can call them meat sack, you can call it whatever you want, but whoever designed them to perfection, and we are aware of two, they say we have two lines of DNA. But now they're saying, well, there's actually like 12, 13, 14, however many in there, but only two that makes us human. The rest is junk.
yeah,
And I look at that and I think to myself, Okay, in all logic and fairness, we are like perfect androidal robots. We are perfect beings. Why would our creator go, oh hey, we got these DNA strands over here we apparently don't have a use for. Let's just dump them in here. They'll never find them. Nobody needs to worry about them. I look at them as, what if we activate them? Because they're turned off if they're only showing up as two. What if we open three or four of them? What is that going to do?
Totally.
And
No,
so,
it's
yeah.
so true. And so one of the things that I've been doing lately is Barbara Hand-Clow. I love, I work with the Palladians. So Barbara Hand-Clow is somebody that I'll read her books. I haven't read them all, but I just recently dove into her Dimensions soundtracks. And it goes through the 10 dimensions. And it gives you this feeling of what it's like to connect to the first dimension through the 10 dimensions. And let me tell you, it was just wild to sit with my headphones and my blindfold and just feel it. Feel the first dimension, feel the second, feel the third, and then go up. It was wild because my body, like my mind, was light. I wasn't in a body. I didn't have visual connections, memories, situations come up. I was energy. So my connection to this frequencies, and mind you, I don't know if you've known this. You probably don't. Barbara Hand-Clow, she got this famous musician to tune in to the highest vibrations, the true vibrations. She paid buku bucks to have this musician do these meditations for her. And so it was awesome to hear it because I felt it. Like, I'm a feeler. I feel it. So it was really interesting for me to be able to dive into that and to really feel what it's like to be at the first dimension, to feel what it's like to just be in that nothing, to where your mind doesn't think so much. We don't have a mind. On the first dimension, there really isn't too much of a brain to like overthink. You're just chilling. And you're just kind of like, you have to try it. I have to send it to you. I have to send it to you. Because I could see you. You're like, what?
No. Actually, I'm noticing as you're talking, as you're saying the one dimension where there's nothing, your light gets dim. And
Does
it
it?
gets darker. And as you talk about going to 10th dimension, it like brightens up really big.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm glad that you see that. Really what it's all coming down to in this moment right now, I feel like there's so many different realities and each person gets to choose what reality they're in. So when I have a client that comes to me and they want to dive into other realities that I've never even really kind of tap danced into, I'm like, yes, let's do this. I want to see it. I want to see what you're seeing. In school, one of the things that I found out that I was pretty good at was remote viewing. So I can go in and view people's experiences. And so when I have sessions and I converse with somebody one-on-one, I can feel and sense what they're getting, what's happening around them. And it's awesome. Even when it's completely like oblivious to anything that I've ever experienced. I love it. Even when it's not, great and cheery, whatever. I love experiencing it because I want to experience all that I can. I do. I have this like desire to relate to each and every person that I connect with. And I know you do too. You
I
totally do.
do.
You so do. And I think that's so awesome for us to have that and to be that way. More of us need to.
It is. And I just want to make a note. We're at the hour mark, so I
Oh,
don't know if you need to
oh,
go or if you have time to go a little bit longer.
we can go a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I
Mine's,
just want- I just like to be aware of the time because
yeah. No,
and
yeah.
one thing I want to shift to for a moment because we were talking about it before we got started and your experience versus my experience. I think a lot of people would get benefit from in your friend's experience, and that is talking about the shadow beings.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's do it. So, my first experience with shadow beings was when I was in my childhood home. Um, I have to go back from my cousin. She kind of delved into some dark magic stuff. And when I was in my 20s, I lived in the same house as her. So her room was behind my room. And she was doing some stuff. She was working with Ouija boards. I didn't know this then until I saw the dark shadow being that was ginormous coming from her room to my cousin's room. And I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I saw this being. What's going on? She lied. She said, no, I'm not doing anything. And I said, okay, I'm going to take her, at her word. But I knew, well, it progressed. It got worse. As time went on, I would continuously see this shadow being at the edge where the rooms met. And I wasn't happy with that. That made me really upset. So, and this was in my 20s when I was really scared of all of this stuff. But yet I still had the wherewithal to fight it when I needed to. So I did. So I saged. Fast forward to later on, I've had many experiences with shadow beings, but I'm going to take you to the most prominent ones because they feel way important right now. I was sitting with my best friend that's no longer here in this life at her house. We were sitting together. We had a girls' night. And behind her was this shadow being, straight up cloaked shadow being with red eyes. And underneath it, I could actually see the flowingness of the energy of this being. Well, I kept my gaze at her because I knew once I took it off of her, as you know, I'm sure, once you take it off, once you take your glaze off of that person, you lose that. So I knew that I had to look at her while I was telling her what I was getting from this being behind her on her dining room table. It was hovering over the dining room table. I told her, Kimmy, there's this shadow being that's hovering over your dining room table. She says, Jamie, yeah, I know. I said, well, you need to know that it's taking your life force. It's feeding your thoughts. This was a horrible shadow being. And you'll see why I say that in a minute. Some are there to teach us things that we've contracted in. Some are there to actually siphon off of us. And honestly, if I was to sit here and think about that, if I didn't know already that my personal experiences with shadow beings were there because they showed me something, I would have thought they were dark and they were just taking something from me, like my best friend. But my situation, my being that I've personally had experience with just recently, is different. Hers was siphoning. It was there to take. Because she wasn't ready or in that capacity to deal with it. In fact, she didn't want to deal with it. She said, no, it's been with me a long time. And I don't want to talk about it. And I said, well, it's giving you and feeding you dark thoughts. It's feeding off you and your family, Kimmy. Right as I said that, something hit the back of the wall. Nothing hit it. There was nothing there. Something hit the back of the wall and fell to the ground. Stopped me from interacting with Kimmy. Took me to where I needed to look behind me because something hit the wall. Nothing was there. It didn't like that I was telling her these things. But she wasn't ready to hear that. She was my best friend. But yet, she didn't want to hear what it was doing to her. She knew it, but she didn't want to hear it. So my experience here in this home was I had a dark shadow being in the corner of my room. Corey was gone. He was working in San Francisco, so I was home alone. And the shadow being took me by my ankles and pulled me down, all the way down. And I first called out to God. And then I called out to Jesus. And I said, Jesus, please help me. Nothing. It wasn't until I said within myself, go. I command you to go. It left like that. What I learned through that experience was something that was so profound. I contracted that dark shadow being to come into my awareness, to meet me there, to show me that everything I had was inside of me. I didn't need to go outside of myself to ask for help. It was here. And that was my lesson. So I will always remember that we have everything we need right here.
No, it's very true. And one of the things I always will tell people is, universal law, both sides, so to speak, if you want to view it that way, have to abide by it. There is no, they're the bad guys because they're breaking the law. No, they still have to abide by it. And it only works if you have true conviction and true power and true belief behind the words. Any doubt and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so it's cool how your experience led you to finding that inner power and just give it a voice, and it knew it and it felt it and it responded. And yeah, that's really cool. And it is hard to be aware of things because not everybody is open to, the knowledge of what is going around us. And it's kind of like, I'll use Doctor Who as an example, is, the shadows is being an alien they call the Silence. And when you see them, they're there, you interact, but when you blink or look away and your focus returns, they're gone. You have no memory of what you were looking at.
Yeah.
They wipe your memory of ever seeing them. And so I feel like, the lesson to that, is, we see what's in front of us, we know what's there, but if we're not meant to deal with it, it's going to erase from our memory.
Yeah.
And we're not going to remember it until that moment when the proverbial light turns on, as we call it, where we're like, oh my God, I remember. I remember meeting you before. You're not going to make me forget this time. And they are becoming powerless. They cannot, if they can't make us forget, they have no power over us. And so they leave. And so that's something that I think, people need to be aware of is, don't take it personal that everybody doesn't, go, oh, there's a shadow being. Oh, yeah, tell me, what's going on? What do I need to do? Some people may not be ready to, and you can't force them. They have to come around on their own.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it's unfortunate, but all you can do is be there for when they do come around. And the unfortunate thing is be there for them when they don't come around and just watch it do its thing and be like, it
Yeah.
sucks, but you don't have a choice, really.
Yeah. One of the things that we'll have to do eventually is share the pictures and the videos that I've caught here, because these beings, they're real beings. They have forms, and it's awesome to be able to see the being, capture it on film, and then talk about what it's sharing with you, you know? So we'll have to do that the next
I
time.
agree. And I just had a thought, when going back to what we were talking about in the beginning with Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, a lot of places talk about the energy and how it affects things around there. And a lot of people are sitting there listening to this and going, yeah, okay, whatever. Everybody says that. But thanks to this episode, you actually have proof on the episode that the energy is there and does affect. So, that's one blessing out of, the episode with what they did show is they did show
Oh, yeah.
the energy affecting things. And so when you say to people, oh, the energy here can affect this or that, and they go, okay, yeah, whatever, go watch Skinwalker Ranch, Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. Here's the episode. Then come back to me and, we'll talk.
And another thing I want to do, and I just need to do it, is I need to start doing YouTube lives of what's going on the mountain with our infrared cameras. That's something that I've wanted to do, and I need to just start doing it. But my spirit photography, I'm starting to do again, especially now that it's getting darker earlier. I'm able to actually stay up later and actually do it. Well, not later, but I'm able to do it. So it's nice. So seeing these full body apparitions and connecting with the beings on the land, it's awesome because it shows people that it's just not in your mind. It's actually physical. This is real. What's happening is real. And that's awesome.
It is. And I gotta admit, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if we talked about this last episode, but doing your spirit photography, have you ever pointed it at the mountain and done photo sessions of the mountain?
So I have it at the mountain all the time. The infrared cameras, they're always going on. And we have so many ships constantly going from the left to the right, from the right to the left, always happening. It's never a dull moment here. It's constant action. Never stops. Never stops. Straight up.
And I can't help but feel, I often will say, when you're paranormal investigating, the spirits know, who's coming, and they can read your intentions. And so if your intention is for 15 seconds of fame, they're not going to do much for you. If your intention is to communicate and document, they'll give you communication and stuff to document. If your intention is to agitate, they will respond to the agitation and give you what you want. With the Mount Shasta, it seems like it also is reading who's coming and seeing what is the intention of everybody there.
Totally.
And giving them what they want, even when it doesn't look like what they want.
Yep. Very true. It's true.
So I always like to point that out because everybody will go somewhere and say, well, I didn't have that experience. And I'm like, yeah, because you're right there tells you why you didn't have that experience.
Yep.
You were out to prove something where we weren't. So there you go.
It's never a dull moment. Like tonight, I'm going to go out, take pictures, and the beings, the plasma energies, they're always there. It never stops. It's constant. And it's awesome.
I just had a thought for you. Since you're going to go out tonight and communicate with the beings, maybe have them talk to the bear and see if they can talk to him to leave the chickens alone and to let you sleep tonight.
No, I do that. I constantly do that. But it's kind of like, okay, they come, they're there, they come, but they haven't broke in. And I've had so many close calls, but I've never had any animals die from predators. And I work on that every day, every single day. So yeah, it keeps me up at night because I'm such a worrier, but I know that it's going to be fine. They can't get in.
Ooh, here's a thought too I just had pop in my head is, instead of going to the beans, go directly to the bears and just be like, hey, bears.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming by and letting me know you're around and everything, but you can do it in other ways than, waking me up with the chickens.
Yes. Good idea.
So, let's try a different way and see if, they do something different. Like you wake up and your cameras are like, they're over there doing a little like on their back legs, just kind of like stomp and then drop and walk away.
Totally good. I have to do that. That's a good idea.
Now, you have to promise that they start dancing like Baloo from Disney, The Jungle Book. You definitely got to send that footage.
For sure. For sure.
I'm like,
For
if
sure.
they're out there dancing with the tutu on, I'm like, I want to see that. Because,
For sure. Can I put you on hold for a minute? Is that okay?
yeah.
Get my dog outside really fast. Hold on one sec. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on.
Thank you to Shadow of Lotus and Blue Riders DG for commenting. I appreciate you guys coming into the chat room and participating. I appreciate everybody who does that. Thank you so much for doing that. It means a lot and helps me feel confidence that people are actually watching. And so, thank you for that. And to Shadow of Lotus, if you're still on, I do agree. She does have so much knowledge. It is amazing the amount of knowledge that she has and shares. And so, thank you for tuning in for this episode as well. Okay, so I had to say I'm amazed at how dark it is there right now because they are 2 hours behind me.
It's so dark. I'm sorry. Beauty was like right there at the door going, come on, come on, come on. I'm like, okay.
Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah, it's totally dark here.
No, but we are getting close to the hour and a half mark. And so I want to give you a moment or two to, talk about Healing Place and bring, share what you're doing with that right now and promote anything you got coming up.
Yeah. So right now it's pretty chill because it's off season. So it's really going to get cold here. But always when it comes to hypnotherapy, I want to attract people who are drawn to my energy, who want to expand their consciousness, understand their gifts, realize their purpose, and also spirit photography. If people are going to be coming into town and they want to see what energies are drawn to them, I want to help them. I'll show them. And it's just awesome. Just being able to connect to people who are already in this field, who are psychics, who are light workers, and connecting with them to see how we work together. It never stops amazing me. Never stops amazing me. In fact, I have a great client. She has a patent, and I'm going to share this with you, Michael, later on. But she gifted me all of these wonderful bracelets and, oh my gosh, a headset, and anklets. I don't want to go into what these actually hold because they're her patent. She's still working on that. But I can tell you this. It's awesome. It's amazing. I've been mountain biking all weekend and really hardcore. I've probably done 30 miles just this weekend. And it's a lot. And I'm so thankful to have these because, mind you, I haven't slept very good, right, since the bears. I'm mountain biking. And then I'm talking to you now. And these are helping me so much. And I actually had a client today. Yeah. So it's they're awesome. So to answer your question, when it comes to, or to talk about what's happening here, if anybody wants to expand their consciousness, who feels called to work with me, I'm all for it. But also those that want to have spirit photography sessions, go to Pluto's cave, come here, whatever it may be. It's so exciting to see. But I'm meeting such wonderful people that I call friends. And that's the thing about me. Like when I start getting clients that I'm really in tune with, they're friends. I feel like this sacred tribe, like energy going around. That's awesome. So it's exciting.
It is, and I am so glad that everything is starting to find its rhythm for you.
Yeah, it took a while. I feel like the dogs are fighting in the back. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm finding my footing now after my daughter leaving. I feel like she's always here. I already know that. She's always here helping me along the way, but doing life with her and not taking life so serious. She's always like, Mom, don't take life so serious. Stop it. Stop it. You're way in your head. Don't analyze. Just be. And has Charlie been like here the whole time? She has, huh?
Yeah.
She totally has. Oh my gosh. That's my daughter's cat. So it's like she's here. I just noticed that she was, she's been here the whole time. So cute. But yeah, it's like, if I could say anything, it's this. Just be you and be authentic and don't worry about what people think about you. What matters most when we cross over is how we feel about ourselves, who we feel we are. That's like one of the main important things. If we feel proud about who we are, that's the most important, you know?
I agree. And I love how we were talking about timing of things because you seen your daughter's cat in that moment. I was just thinking about wrapping the show up and going and adding something to my usual wrap up that I've been guided to. And it was perfect how in sync it was. And what that is from my heart and the heart of my show to you and your daughter. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity.
Thank you. Michael, you're wonderful.
So are you.
But but it's really awesome. It's awesome to feel it. I don't think you know how wonderful it is. Well, I mean, you kind of get an idea. I think I've seen a couple of your podcasts with a few of the people you've got on that really connect to you, that feel you, that you're just such a true human. You are just so genuine and you have such a huge heart. And that right there makes me feel so good to connect to you. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
It's you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll take it and try and keep humble. But yes, thank you. And thank you for coming back on and sharing your experiences with us. And thank you to everyone in the chat room. And we will definitely have to get you back on again because I feel like we run out of time when we just really start getting in the flow and rhythm.
Yeah. Until next time.
All right. And so thank you to everyone. Have hope and blessed Halloween season. And have a wonderful night, everyone. Good night.